All right, everybody, today we are going to learn our 6 new high frequency words for this week. When we're learning them, we will learn them a couple ways. We will go over the motion to learn the context of the word, what it means when we're reading it in a sentence, and we're going to learn if we can decode this word, meaning use the sounds to figure out what it is, or if it's a word we need to know by heart. Remember, sometimes we call those tricky sticky because there's parts in them that just don't make sense. But we're going to learn little clues and tricks to eventually make those words that we don't even have to decode. We just know them. Our mind has mapped them. So let's get started. Our first word today is all. And my motion is just going to bring everybody in because this is all. Now, when I look at all, the first letter you see is that A. We know that A usually says a, or if it's the long vowel, it says A. In all, it doesn't say either of those. So we are going to call this tricky sticky. We're going to say that when we look at that A, we want to know by heart that it's not going to make the traditional sound. It's making more of like an ah with that O in there. So, ah, ooh. Our L's are okay. Those are not going to be rule breakers. So again, boys and girls, this word is all. Now let's move on to when. For when, I'm going to take a look at my watch. When. Now what you're going to notice is the WH together. We had just started talking about this before we left the classroom, and H likes to tag along. It likes to hang out with a friend. You're going to see H joining in on other letters throughout words that we learn. So this is a letter T. They're going to be together. I'm going to give that H a heart because we're still learning it, but eventually we would know that the WH always just says w, just like it would if the W was by itself, okay? So we have w, which we hear this silent H because they're buddies, w, eh. That eh sound is exactly what we're learning this week with Edna Elephant. So following the rule, w, eh, n. Blend it together, when. This is a word that you will be able to decode as you start to remember the WH together. Let's move on to over. Let's break it down. That O, it's not saying ah, but it is saying its name. O, that's always a choice. So we can decode this. V. Perfect. The V says V. Ov. ER. Another concept that we had just started talking about when we learned the R sound. Because a lot of times we want to say for R, and actually the R says R. ER together do say So this is a decodable high frequency words. Over. Over. Okay, next word. Some. Put your palm out. Some. Like you would like some treats. Our S is great. Perfect sound. Now wait a second. The O says ah. Or if it's the long vowel, it can say its name and say O. But this says And if you're thinking into your letters and sounds, we know that the U says I'm going to call this tricky sticky. I want to know this word by heart. My M is okay, but even more reason to know this is a know by heart word. This silent E should be telling the O to say O. It should really be saying soam, and we know that's not the word. So again, we're going to know it by heart because it's tricky sticky. We want to stick this missing sound into our heart. Next word, her. Our motion is to point to any girl that you see. It could be your mom, your grandma, your sister. This is going to be a rule follower. Check it out. The H says perfect. We just went over the ER. We know that they say when they're together. This is not tricky sticky. We don't need to know it by heart. We can decode it. Next, we're moving on to she. We're going to pretend to curl our hair, just like my daughters like to do all the time. She. The SH, remember I said we're going to find H joining into a lot of letters. When the S and H are together, they make a new sound. So everyone say shh, shh. Now, I'm at this E. I can try both ways. I can say sh, Well, that's not the word. But I can also try the long sound where it's saying its name. Sh, E, she. This is not tricky sticky. I can decode she. Let's go through all 6. Here we go. All, when, over, some, her, she. Great job, everybody. Keep practicing.